In this video, we're going to go over or review the credit card class and the money class. If you remember from chapter 6, the money class was sort of represented a bank account, and then the credit card class represented a credit card account that was initialized at $1,000. Throughout this chapter, we're going to work our way through different enabling concepts for classes. And mostly, I would say Chapter 8's good tactics, techniques, and procedures when it comes to using classes. However, I would also say that Chapter 8 does show or exemplify different concepts such as aggregate classes and how it delves a little bit deeper into how we pass objects that programmer creates to either the main class or to other classes that you create, and that's powerful all within itself. So with that, let's take a look at these classes. The first concept we're going to go over is the static class members, right? So, and we know for a fact in our main class, the main method is a static method, right? So what does it mean to be a static class member? It means the static class members belong to the class and not to the individual instance that class is created. And what that means is if I call the credit card class in the main method here, all these methods belong to and variables belong to that particular instance of the class, right? But if, for instance, I initialize, I say here, static double card balance, and we set this equal to 0, that means that the card balance is initialized at 0, and no matter what instance, the card balance would always reference the variable 0, right? And that sort of this variable is sort of hardwired into memory, and regardless of how many iterations you have of the credit card object, your card balance will be 0. You can change that by getting rid of this static. And so for now, for the purposes of building this aggregate class we're going to get to later on in the module, we're erase the static, right? But just know that, say we wanted to initialize at 0, or say we want to initialize every balance at $1,000, we could just put 1,000 here. And that would make every balance 1,000, even though here in the constructor we already set it equal to 1,000, right? So let's undo all that. And then another concept we want to talk over is the static method. Now, what exactly does a static method mean? It means when a class contains a static method, it is not necessary to create the particular instance of the class in order to use the method. So, for instance, if we're going to use, the math class, and we want to say, math dot square root, and we want to square root card balance. There's no utility in that, but the square root method is a static method in the sense that you don't have to create an instance of the math class to use that method. Usually the static methods are utility methods where you can use it to operate on any type of variable, even the double dot parse double. That is a static method. And you create a static method by simply tapping public static the keyword static and then double. Obviously, this it negates the what's listed here. Because static methods are typically they static methods may not communicate with instance fields, only static fields. So that's why since this card balance is in the instance field, it's sort of it's throwing up an error. So we're gonna erase that static. Okay. So just wanted to show you guys a couple instances of how we use static methods all the time in Java, and you can definitely create a static method of your own. But for the purposes of this lesson, we're not going to create one, but we could. In the next lesson, we're going to go over something that we've also learned how to do. We actually did do it a couple of times. We're passing objects to methods, but we'll create a method in the main class, and we'll pass objects from credit card or money to a method inside of the main class.